Look, isn't it? Perfectly balanced, this whole thing should be.
Since the dawn of hip-hop, there have been two sides to the music that we love. The party music that has moved crowds for the past 50 years, and the socially conscious lyricism that has changed the world with its words. Hip-hop is at its best when these two modes coexist. One group that was able to achieve that perfect equilibrium for a short time in the 90s was Brand Nubian. The three main members of the group, Grand Puba, Sadat X, and Lord Jamar, perfectly represent this balance. Puba is one of the most effortlessly fun MCs alive, while Jamar is an MC who always puts his message first, and X lives somewhere in the middle, while still being able to flow free and keep the party moving. Brand Nubian is often grouped in with the Native Tongues movement, but outside of a couple collaborations with the collective, they were doing their own thing. Much of the imagery and ideology used by the Tongues would later be built upon by Brand Nubian, as they became a brand new example of what Afrocentricity would look like in the 1990s. The three MCs grew up in New Rochelle, New York, along with DJ Alamo, the group's eventual first DJ. Grand Puba was a few years older than the other MCs, and he was something of a local legend around New Rochelle already through the 1980s. He was a member of the group Masters of Ceremony in the mid-80s, but the group disbanded after one album in 1988. After that, Puba was looking for a new group and linked up with Alamo, Lord Jamar, and Sadat X, who at the time was going under the name Derek X. The group shopped for a deal at record labels before they even had a name or recorded any music together, all off the strength of Puba's career up to that point. He was able to both rap and produce, and whichever label scored them knew that they'd have a hit on their hands. They ended up signing to Elektra, being one of the first successful acts signed by legendary A&R Dante Ross. Their debut album, One For All, was released in 1990, and is one of the finest examples of hip-hop's perfect equilibrium that I mentioned earlier. The sample-delic production was fun and free-flowing, like an early Native Tongues party record, but the lyrical subject matter was filled with purpose. The album performed well commercially, but the public perception of the group was mixed. They were viewed as militant, with lyrics that held nothing back when preaching the teachings of the nation of gods and earth. They even had a Fab Five Freddy directed video that got banned from MTV for featuring a black man in whiteface. 35 years later, and these songs still jump. The production is as infectious as ever, and the lyrics are still potent. The album's big hit, Slow Down, features 3 verses, one from each MC, and each about a different woman that they knew. Derek X's verse is iconic, describing a woman's struggles with drug addiction. Songs like this are what makes this album so incredible. The verse is truly one of a kind and lively, and the equilibrium is reached by the thoughtfulness in each verse. Unfortunately, even though they were able to achieve the perfect balance of hip-hop on wax, group life was not as easy as it seemed. Grand Puba was already a star when the group was created, so there were a lot of egos involved and disrespect from him towards the other members of the group. He would show up late or not at all to recording sessions, taking the group's studio money without sharing it with the crew, and was pushing his own solo tracks onto the group record. Brand Nubian's time as a perfect hip-hop trio would be short-lived, as Puba would go solo the following year. But funny enough, that would not be the end of Brand Nubian, and now as separate entities, they would further represent what the two sides of 90s hip-hop would be. DJ Sincere would join the group to replace Alamo, who left along with Puba, and now Grand Puba and Brand Nubian would be on 2 separate paths simultaneously. In 1992, Puba released his solo record, Real to Real, which highlighted the lighter energy that he brought to the group. It's filled with soulful samples and lyrics about women and living the good life, with some other more important concepts sprinkled in. Lord Jamar and Sadat X were determined to prove that they could be the best version of Brand Nubian all on their own. They released the album In God We Trust in 1993 and showed a tougher, more aggressive style to their sound. The lyrics still focused on the teachings of the 5% Nation, while also embracing a more combative attitude. The production was a stark contrast to what Puba did on Real to Real, feeling much more stripped down and more akin to acts like Mobb Deep or Wu-Tang rather than the native tongues. Ironically, at the time more eyes were on Puba since he was the star, but I think history has been kinder to In God We Trust than it has been to Real, even though I still enjoy both records quite a bit. In the mid-90s, the two sides of the equilibrium evened out a bit on the more chill front. Brand Nubian released the uber laid-back Everything Is Everything, and then Puba released his ambitious, cooled-out, lavish sophomore LP, 2000. Puba is such an incredible song crafter. This album is a smorgasbord of samples and lyrical references to classic songs. I highly recommend this one. 1995 was the year that Brand Nubian first officially broke up, and the two remaining MCs would focus on their solo careers for the time being. The following year, Sadat X released his Western-themed Wild Cowboys, so by this point you would think that the group would be finished. But the call of hip-hop perfection was still there to help bring them together once again. The original group reunited in 1997 and put all of their issues that they had on their first run together behind them. They released The Foundation in 1998, getting back to the foundation of what the group was based on, and the result was their most full-sounding since their debut. All their solo records and Brand Nubian records post-split were good, sometimes even great, but they could never achieve that balance that they have when they're all together. Foundation finds all three MCs at their most mature, with many career ups and downs under their belt, but still able to keep the party moving, ultimately being their most critically acclaimed album since their debut, and the single Don't Let It Go to Your Head became their highest charting single on the Hot 100. Through the 2000s, the MCs each continued releasing solo records and a couple more albums as Brand Nubian. Fire in the Hole was released in 2004, and really is the last new music that we ever got from the crew, as their 2007 album Time's Running Out was all unreleased material from their Foundation days. The run that Brand Nubian went on in the 90s is so special because it really represented the duality of 90s hip-hop as a whole. The artistic makeup of the group's members was the perfect mix to toe that line and give audiences the best of both worlds. Since the turn of the century, these two sides of the genre have gotten further apart, making it more rare to see this equilibrium attempted to be reached at all. And that's a shame because Brand Nubian was able to make some of the best hip-hop of all time right there on that line. Thanks for watching, everybody. Brand Nubian is one of those classic groups that I've always wanted to make a video on, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments what is your favorite Brand Nubian song and who is your favorite MC of the group. Head over to patreon.com/DefGoldblum if you want to vote on my next video topic. We recently released our latest issue of Def Magazine as well. Digital copies are available on the Patreon, and if you want a physical copy, that is available at staydef.com. As always, I got a lot more headed your way, so stay tuned, stay safe, and stay def. Thanks for watching.